It's a third of the way. All is well. I only threw up twice. We're on our way.
We're talking cold. Have you ever tried to wipe your butt with a wet wipe? A wet wipe?
Guess where we're going next? Right there. If it's big and in front of us, that's where we're going.
Our second show.
Okay, so
He can edit, so don't worry about it.
Oh, there's lots of editing.
a typical question might be something
Well,
along
first of
the
all, who are you guys?
lines of, okay, I'm Neville,
And I'm Michael.
and we run Hostel, and we, I guess we could talk about, you want to talk about how we came to run the hostel?
Sure. You want to give a little history about how you've
Yes.
been here longer?
So, I'm going to turn this story into a circle and tell you how Michael and I met. 2005, Michael hiked in one day, and in his hiking in one day, we just met and we became good friends. And in our friendship, we found out we had a lot in common. And one of the things we had in common was that we wanted to live in a, we wanted to have kind of community lifestyle, which revolved around organic gardening, self-sustainability, art, creativity, personal venture, and the woods. And that might just sum up a little bit of what we wanted out of our lives. And that kind of brought us together as a couple, don't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were sparked by that. Like, that was really cool. We were sparked by our own interests. So, when my grandmother passed away, and she had been running this hostel for 21 years, she didn't realize it, but we didn't realize it, but somebody needed to keep the Appalachian Trail Hostel going. And we were the perfect candidates.
So when we moved up here, we moved up here with the tradition of the hostel and the way Neville's grandmother ran it, and only knowing that we were going to take over that tradition, which was basically helping out the hikers in May and June.
And what was the tradition?
The tradition was the first 8 hikers would be invited in that signed up for breakfast in the morning, which breakfast was always $3.50, and actually went down over the years as her grandmother decided to include a little bit less in the breakfast. But then basically as we moved up here, we kind of started to incorporate the farm and the garden and all of the dinners, massage therapy, shuttles.
Well, one thing that
all sorts
happened was my grandmother was able to run it as a retirement, as something that she just did and offered as a service to hikers. And before she died, she looked at me and she literally said, "Neville, you can't run the hostel the way I do. It's just not practical. You've got to, you've got to change things." So we moved up here knowing that we wanted to live and work here. We didn't want to have another job and work somewhere else and do that. So we actually created other avenues. Like, we created the meals, and we created the indoor rooms, and we created the massage therapy. We tied in shuttles. We just do a lot of different random things in order to draw interest to the place, so that hikers have provisions that they wouldn't have otherwise, and which created a livelihood for ourselves. And then in creating that livelihood, that economic benefit, we started looking around at the land, and we said, hey, we have this really incredible busy season, but the rest of the year, we need some kind of other asset, other income. What can we do? And should we draw more people here? And we said, no, let's let the people take care of themselves. Let's create a farm. And the farm, it has come a lot due thanks to my uncle having bought a piece of property in front of us. And so what we've done is we've begun to manage the land to get it back to the roots of the land. So Michael has become the farmer, and I've become the hostel keeper, caretaker.
Or as we say, I'm the outkeeper, and we'll say innkeeper.
That's thanks to some other friends of ours who run another bed and breakfast. I don't know if I like that term, but that's how we've done it. And
Nope, that's not.
you know, I think one neat question that someone asked us a long time ago, our first year here actually. Can I say this? Okay. So they asked what the hardest thing about living here was. You know, is it stacking wood? Is it carrying water? Is it the chores you have? You know, she imagined I was going to give her some random chore that would be the hardest. And in all honesty, I just kind of sput out like I am now.
Dealing with her.
Dealing with him. So, honestly, that's the hardest thing about living up here. We have each other, and then everybody else is just an entity that passes through. And we've come to realize how important that is. So when we have bad experiences, we have to make sure we support each other more than anything else. And we're learning to do that through this experience, which has actually helped us create a better place. Because a lot of people come here and they will see an organization and they'll see signs and they'll see kind of boundaries. And those boundaries have developed because he and I have looked at each other and said, we need some stability. And what stability do you need? What stability do I need? How can we support that with supporting hikers? So it's created, so for example, we've come up with a really cool chore thing, which I think we forgot to do this morning. Mm-hmm. The hikers are asked to do chores, and that's to help keep the bunkhouse clean. So the next group of hikers that passes in actually will come into a clean bunkhouse. And we forgot
More
to
or
do
less
it
following
today,
leave
but
no trace ethics, just to help the
Yeah.
next hiker that comes along.
that keeps Michael from feeling havocy, like he has to be out there picking up after people. And then another thing is we ask people to help in the preparation and cleanup of meals. And what that does is it helps me feel less abandoned and isolated and having to do it by myself. And then the hikers actually come in and they're like, God, I haven't like ran my hand under just hot warm water to clean just so I can go and chop vegetables, you know, and it becomes this experience that's more dynamic. So instead of being served, they are of service. And I think being of service to a place provides an entity of caring for a place so that it can continue forward instead of Michael and I quote unquote burning out. We have our burnout moments, but we're not going anywhere.
But also by allowing everyone to come in and help out a little bit, it almost seems like people, come as strangers but leave as friends. It's kind of unique.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we really get to.
We've literally had people come in here that I did not resonate with or didn't quite feel like they felt the place. And next thing you know, we're working in the kitchen together, and it's like we bond. A bond happens just by working together.
And the same thing too with a lot of the projects that we're doing on the farm. A lot of times we'll just be out doing something, and people just come in and just volunteer to help. And so it's nice. This place has been built, with the community of the hikers and the guests and such that are passing through. So
the garden beds have been built thanks to hikers. The rocks have been moved thanks to hikers. The fields have been created thanks to hikers. A lot of things have happened just thanks to the hikers just saying, I'm here, I'd like to help, and what you have going on. And every day is different. I'd say the group that was here last night probably really just got to enjoy sitting and relaxing. And then on another day, it's like everybody's into a project. Just depends on the timing, but it's a neat place.
Well, I can tell you from a personal perspective, being here is not just like feeling like I'm home, but feeling like the home I wish I had. This truly is one of those places that is dynamic in the way that you live, and it's catchy. And it's for me, it was the most relaxing, inspiring and healthful time I've had yet. And,
Thanks.
it's kind of nice, like you mentioned yesterday. You mentioned the comment about how blessed we are to have this place and be able to live. It's one of those things that we definitely realize that all the time, and realize that not only that we're so blessed to have it, but we're able to share it with other people and not just keep it for ourselves, and just allow it, like you said, it can inspire other people to do something in their
Follow
own
their
lives,
dreams.
follow their own dreams in
Yeah.
whatever way, shape, or form that is. So
Yeah. So, Michael, you were a hiker in the past?
yeah, I thru-hiked in 2005. I actually was a biochemist for about a little less than 10 years or so. And then I just decided that I've always wanted to hike the trail, and I'd actually almost hiked it in 2001. And then when I headed off in 2005, I actually met Neville here, which we just met for 24 hours.
Oh, is that how you met?
Well, actually less than 24
Oh, yeah, he
hours.
hiked
Just,
in one
just
day.
stayed overnight. When it was her grandmother's tradition, you could stay one night, have breakfast. And actually, I was pretty late in the season, and so I remember when they showed up, they're like, "What the heck are you doing here?" But anyhow, so
He showed up with two nuns, and the two nuns, a daughter, and her with two nuns, a father and a daughter, and the two nuns. We classically asked the two nuns, "So what made you decide to become a nun?" And the nun looked at Michael and I and said, "Well, when I was about 28 years old, I realized there was no one else for me but God." And I looked across at Michael and I was like, "That's not going to happen to me." It could have, but I was like, "I'm going to find a man, I swear," And I didn't know it was going to be Michael, but a lot of elements came together that just caused us to crash together.
So, who you both give massages.
Yeah.
Who gets the most?
who gets the most?
You too. Yeah. That's about it.
I think from all of us, we would really like to say thank you for all that you've done. It's more special than you probably know.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Your thanks helps us survive during the hard times.
Okay, this one's for Gabby. Of day. I like the dark and the wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking and singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them go. They'll learn much more than we'll know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where
Everybody else, I think, enactments are just
you
placed wherever,
find
and
me.
you want to move yourself around, and if you land on the table, you just know that you get to sit comfortably and look at someone who can and swap with them.
Way up
Oh, creme brulee French toast, a farm fresh eggs with greens, and fruit bowl and egg and lots of bread.
Right here, right now, this is the song I'm singing out. I wanna live like there's no tomorrow, like I'm on borrowed time. It's good to be alive. I wanna live like there's no
The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of all the earth. He never grows weak or weary. No one can measure the depths of his understanding. He gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless. Even youths will become weak and tired, and young men will fall in exhaustion. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They'll soar high on wings like eagles. They'll run and not grow weary. They'll walk and not faint.